Hey guys, my name is Braden Webb, and I'm going to be going over Price Pilot today. I don't have the rest of the team here with me, but we built this for our final project in Professor Rodney Ndum's Special Topics AI for Finance, which is the very first inaugural semester at UCF, and I'm pretty sure it is the first and only AI for Finance undergrad level class outside of a fintech program in the state of Florida, and probably only one of the only few in the country. So before I go over an app demo, I just want to go over what Price Pilot is and how we're using it and the problem that it's solving in general. Imagine imagine you opened up a restaurant and you are a damn good grill master. You make really good brisket barbecue sandwiches. You know everything about it. You spent your whole life doing it and that's all the time you have to focus on. But you don't read up on Yahoo Finance. You don't keep up with geopolitical trends. You don't read the BLS reports that come out every month. You don't know what CPI, PPI, any type of labor statistic means really. But you want to open your business, and those monetary functions are going to come with it, whether it be payroll, staffing, um, just pricing your sandwiches themselves, handling your rent and your costs, your overhead. And maybe you want to be able to do that yourself because you're still starting off, you're very small. And that's where Price Pilot comes in, is kind of like a helping hand of guiding you on how to make these pricing decisions and recommendations for your business based off of the industry you're in and the current state of the economy. So here we are on the front page of Price Pilot as you come in as a new user. And we built in a four-step setup wizard here, and it also has a five-factor decision engine model that scores what we're about to put in. And I'll go over that decision engine model later, and we'll see how that builds our final recommendation. But for now, let's stick to B's Brisket. We're based out of Orlando. I make a really good brisket plate, so my average price of my plates are $19. My total monthly cost, I'm new, my rent's a little higher in the city. I'm gonna go 23,000. And I don't have much staff, but that brisket and those smokers cost a lot. And I've been open for about maybe almost 2 years, and I've never really thought I had to change my prices. I thought keeping them the same would attract new customers, especially as I'm starting off. So currently, I don't pull in as much as the industry average at 45. Customers have been slow. I'm at 35,000 a month. And the industry average, we have it down here for restaurants, 10 to 20. I'm falling behind, and that's why I'm coming to Price Pilot. I'm at 11, so I'm floating right above the average, but I want to get a little more cushion, right? And I've never raised prices. Now, for other industries, we might be other business, but we're going to be everyday consumers in the public. Next, we'll connect our data, and this syncs up to the back end here. You see it's loading, getting ready. And pretty much this is powered by Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI data, and we're running on an ARIMA Plus forecasting model. We let you know these business cost weights are all industry averages, and that's why they're already predetermined in there. And this tool provides guidance only, does not constitute financial advice. So, got to save our butts there. Yeah, cost breakdown. You'll see it'll kind of preload it here for you, like I said, on those industry average weights. But this is why we built this tool in here, because not all restaurants or businesses are the same. I'm smaller, so my food ingredients are more. We'll just switch these out real quick. And the rest of these, we can keep them how they are. Oh, I didn't switch those, did I? There we go. We'll keep these how they are. Right. Total entered, and then we're ready to launch our dashboard and get a recommendation just like that. We'll see we're syncing at the top. All right, now we're live. So we're getting a price action of raise to 19.48. Obviously, this does not look like a lot, but we're going to explain it up here at the top. Your industry inflation is 2.5%. It's not a crisis, but it's quietly eating your margins. For a $19 item, that's just 47 cents more. Most customers won't notice a small increase, but you'll feel the difference. And this is important. I mean, we wanted to make this as user friendly as possible for someone who just wants to focus on their business and their craft. Obviously, we're not all accountants, we're not all uh, investment banker. We can't all be knowledgeable in this. So we wanted to make this user friendly. And for most people, they'll look at 47 cents more and think, oh, I'm not even going to change that. It's not going to add anything. But those pennies add up. I mean, after 100 orders, maybe after 1,000, you're looking at a big difference in covering the cost of inflation. That 47 cents is what will lead to down here, covering this extra $600 a month that's going to come from all these aspects of your company that you have to pay for, right? So now we're seeing $600 a month on your bills, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should raise my prices. So we also have a price calculator here to see how we came up with it. Moderate inflation, your customers are moderately price sensitive. And we have that again up here. People still eat out, but watch spending when prices rise. So yeah, we try to break it down each step for you to show you why it's coming out this way. And yeah, these numbers for the cost inflation are led by industry average for food ingredients in a formula with the overall inflation. Over here, we have a market health for restaurant and food service. We'll show you industry inflation, job opening rate, the PPI. If you're not familiar with that, we have it down here to tell you what your suppliers are charging. Higher equals your cost will rise in. Maybe if you don't know how much to pay your cooks, your host, whatever. We have the industry average is 21.67 an hour. Unemployment rate 4.1%. They may spend more costly because they don't have the paycheck that they're getting. Labor productivity as well. Underneath that, we'll have your industry's inflation over the national CPI. So we're looking at inflation, CPI, all that over time, stacking it up, your business compared to what the nation's going through. And then over here is where the ARIMA Plus model comes in, and we're forecasting over a time series, month by month, of what we think inflation will be over time. But we only have it going out to September because these changes have so much trends and lag behind it. It's the confidence interval is just not as strong yet to push us out further. If you have like contracted things and you need to know further out. And down here is just more historical data if you want to look at that and see how it stacks up. But that's pretty much how the app works. I mean, it's very simple. If you want, we have drop downs. You can change it. You can try other profiles here. But yeah, it gives you all your recommendations. It shows you why, breaks it down, shows you how your industry is and how others are doing. And we believe it's a good product to give to small businesses who need to narrow down their pricing. So lastly, just to go with the app, before I get into more technical stuff, I did mention there was that decision tree engine. I bet you're probably thinking, if I use this app, it's probably just always going to tell me to raise my prices because inflation always exists. Yeah, take a percentage of that, turn it into a price, add it, right? That was a problem we had at first, but obviously that's not the case. Maybe you're in a better position to hold. Maybe you should lower your prices in the industry you're in. So I have an example screenshotted here of what a healthcare business would look like in a scenario where they would want to lower, right? So they were set at 200, profit margin 35% was very high. Maybe they're doing really good. Months since last price change 3. I have this decision engine built into the setup wizard. So it scores 5 factors at the same time, which would be inflation forecast, demand sensitivity, unemployment rates, time since last price change, and profit margin. Now, each of these have their own metrics built into it that we had to code one by one. And they'll have maybe a range. And if you're within or outside that range, you get a score. Maybe every time you go above 1%, 2%, 3%, you get a score. Maybe it lowers your score. But each of these have their own formulas that all add up to the score down here. See, if you're greater than 4, you're a strong raise. If you're less than -2, you're a lower. So, which in this case, this one came out to that. So we've tried to take that into account to give you the best recommendation possible based off as many inputs as we can put in. That way you're getting, real input and honest input instead of just, of course everyone would love to hear raise your prices and make more money, but sometimes you need to lower them. And this is a good way of kind of taking everything quickly and getting a quick snapshot of what direction you should go. So this is more technical stuff. If you just wanted to see the app, see what it is, you can very much stop watching here. But by no means am I an expert at this or know exactly what I'm talking about. I am still a student and we learned this semester. A lot of this was new to me, but we soaked it in. We had to apply it to our model. So pretty much the architecture of how this works is that you have inputs from the BLS and subcategories of CPI. They feed into this ARIMA model. And if you don't know what ARIMA Plus is, it stands for Autoregressive Integrative Moving Average. And Plus is just because we're using it on Google AppScript. It's kind of their spin on it. But we chose this model because REMA is a forecast, and over here we tested other ones, and we found that the ARIMA explicitly models and it takes account for lag effects, trends, and seasonability. Now, other models we also tested were a basic linear regression. This is the first one we went with because we knew it makes predictions and we knew it goes off of confidence, such as R squared. But we found that this doesn't work as well because CPI doesn't move in a linear straight line relationship manner. And the R squared we were getting from it just wasn't working out. And just real quick, if you're not familiar with what R squared is, because I know I was just talking about it, um, it's pretty much, say we have an R squared of 0.85, right? That's saying that 85% of the variance of a dependent variable can be explained, predicted, and be confident within the independent variables. So when we spit out a model, we're saying 85% of that can be explained, can be accounted for, and accurately predicted, right? So obviously, if you have one, it means 100%. That other 15% is unaccounted. We just don't know. It's just left to random prediction at that point, coin flip. But we also had a boosted tree, and we found that that was less stable long term because it can't detect underlying trends, but it was slightly better. Now, ARIMA doesn't have an R square, it only has a root mean square error. So what we had to do was take R square for the first two models and kind of convert it. And I have the formula here. It's pretty much just the standard deviation of the dependent variable times the root of r1 minus r squared. And like I said earlier, if you have r squared of 0.85, 1 minus that 0.85 would be the area that's left unpredicted for, right? So we're taking the square root of the unpredictable section and taking the standard deviation, which is, I guess if you don't know what standard deviation is, it's if I have 10% and my standard deviation is 5, I could either end up at 15% or 5%, say like on a stock return. So we're just kind of combining that to convert it to root mean square error. And for this case, you want a lower mean square error. So after testing it, like I said, boosted tree came in a close second, but ARIMA all in all had the lowest root mean square error. So we found that running with that model as the back end of Price Pilot would be the most accurate and well predicted measure for giving our users an accurate recommendation. So some more technical stuff. If you're wondering what I keep meaning when I'm saying back end, input, output, here's where we have all of that data that links directly to Price Pilot here. Right, see? If I delete all over there, it would delete here. So we have our inputs, outputs, and we also added a business configuration page because we eventually want to make profiles and save data. You can see right here is where I have my $19 brisket plate. Just made that and it automatically uploads in there. I can change it and upload again, right? So we have that, and then we have a page where our data is live and dynamic, where we've connected it to BigQuery. You see here, I'm not going to do it all, but you pretty much go here, connect to BigQuery. Here's the class we're in, Price Pilot, right? I can hit that, press connect. I don't need to do it again. So if you've been wondering this whole time, okay, well, where does AI come into this, right? You can see here in extensions, we have Google AppScript. And this is where our website is built off of. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that error. I was on a copy. Now we're on the right one. All right. So when we open up AppScript, here you can see where we have our code.js and our index.html. And pretty much where we use here is Claude. And each of these lines are anytime we had an issue on the website. So AI can build you all of this, build you a website, but it's probably going to be pretty bad, and there's probably going to be a lot of things that don't work. So where we come in is where we start working with Claude. And by no means was this class coding based. You could come in here with no coding experience. But you see all these sections are kind of where I said, okay, you need to fix this. See, function initialize sheets. I want you to initialize my sheets, make the data live, make sure when I'm putting changes on the link sheet, it's coming to the website. This is where we have the business configuration on line 3 here, where we wanted to add the profiles, right? More initialization. Right here, save and load user profiles. It's kind of the task that I'm giving them each time I have a problem. Read, I want them to fetch all the inputs, filter. We had a problem where it wasn't filtering by industry and just giving you the same thing every time. So you can see each one of these was a time where I had to write a new prompt, put in a new code, and fix something. All right, save input row, append only, don't overwrite the sheet. I lost a lot of data from it overwriting. So AI still has a lot of problems, and we need to be able to read it, analyze it, read where the errors are in the line it gives, interpret it, and direct it to make these fixes. Over here, the index is where we're going to build kind of like where the how the website looks, the logo, the colors, all those little emojis you saw in there. Here you can see where I have the setup wizard, this whole section, main dashboard, the action cards on the top. I had to add all of these for each of these, and it was kind of strenuous, but AI helps a lot rather than if you were going to write 1,000 lines of this code on your own. Now, over here, real quick, I know this is a lot to look at, but this is where we are on BigQuery, where we actually test our model and make sure that it's worth deploying and publishing. You can see over here I have our data sets and our tables, Price Pilot. I built the ARIMA models here. And we'll pretty much just ask Chat or Chat or Claude, whatever agent you use, to kind of write a code that will test our confidence interval. So it'll say select from ML forecast. Here's our model structure. We want a 0.90% confidence interval where it can be applied. And we'll have that down here. It'll show us our standard error, the forecast value. This is for each category of our inputs, and all the times a 90% interval will pop up in there. So this is another test that we do on the back end that while running ARIMA Plus that shows us that we can be confident in our model and that it accurately predicts our inputs and outputs. All in all, that's Price Pilot. That's how we built it, and that's everything we learned during that. I'm sure not everything I said during this video might have been the most accurate if you're a technical expert, but like I said, this was all learning. This was one semester, and I feel like this class at UCF was very helpful because I came in this scared with zero knowledge of coding, modeling, any type of app building knowledge, right? So I feel like the biggest takeaway was that you should not avoid AI. This is something that's not going to leave, and if we can integrate it and show how we can be useful at using it, especially as young people coming into the workforce, a recent graduate, it only makes you more useful. So I'm very grateful to Professor Ndum for advocating to launch this class at UCF. I'm very grateful that I still had one semester left when it was launched, and I loved every lecture I went to. This was a class that was super informative, very neat, and I really hope it becomes its own field of expertise one day, especially within finance. And I just want to thank my group and everybody else for helping build this. Wouldn't be able to do it without them. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning about Price Pilot as well and just a little bit about artificial intelligence with finance. So thank you guys.